Hello everybody, it's time for another lesson review, and today I want to talk about phrasal verbs, which we learned about in class, but I will remind you of some of the grammar rules and how to use them right now. So first, what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are verbs that are made of more than one word. So some examples of phrasal verbs are words like pick up, put on, turn off. Each of these, I have two words together, but they really only mean one thing. They work as one verb. So how do they work in a sentence? In a sentence, we may have a sentence, for example, I will, some verb, my children, as an example here. Now, if I have a normal verb that's just one word, like for example, if I want to say, I will see my children, I will see my children. Or I may say, I will visit my children. They're at school, maybe I'll visit them and pick them up. I will visit my children. Visit is another verb. Now, if I have a phrasal verb, like for example, pick up, it goes the same place these other verbs go. It goes right in the same place in the sentence, and the rest of the sentence stays the same. I will pick up my children. It's two words, it counts as one word. So that's what phrasal verbs are. Now, how do we use them? Sometimes they get a little complicated. Sometimes, here's the first grammatical rule I want you to know. Sometimes the object can go after the phrasal verb or between the words of the phrasal verb. What does that mean? Well, the first example I showed you was I said, I will, and if we switch to the phrasal verb, I will pick up my children. Okay, let's look at a sentence. We'll talk about grammar a little bit, right? We have the subject, I, will means the future, pick up is the verb. Pick up, what do I pick up? I pick up my children. My children are the object. They're the thing the verb happens to, right? If I say, I love my children are the object. If I visit my children are the object. So normally, with a phrasal verb, you can say, I will pick up my children. But this is where phrasal verbs get a little tricky because you can always say it like this, but sometimes native speakers will say it differently. In fact, often native speakers will say it differently. Native speakers, like me, often will say, I will pick my children up. I will pick my children up. This is still good grammar and very clear. Now, if you were to say this sentence, if you say, I will pick my children, and that's the end of the sentence, it's confusing to us. You have to say, I will pick my children up. And so sometimes the object goes after the word, after the phrasal verb, I will pick up my children. Sometimes we say, I will pick my children up. This works for any object. I will pick my wife up. I will pick you up. That's the first grammatical rule. Number 2, grammar rule. If you use the object pronoun, put it between the words of the phrasal verb always. Okay, what does that mean? So pronouns, I put pronouns here again for you to look at to refresh your memory what pronouns are. We have object pronouns are the pronouns that go after the verb, for example, right? Me, you, him, her, it, us, them. Remember, those are the ones that go after the verb. So for example, if we have a word like a sentence like I see, if I see my son, I say I see him. And before the verb see, whatever the topic of the sentence is, we say a subject pronoun. I see him. You see me. We never say me see I, right? It's always this direction. The object pronoun is the pronoun that comes after the verb. Me, you, him, her, it, us, them. Okay, so let's go back to our example of picking up my kids. If I say, I will pick up my kids. So my kids are the object. I say my kids, but I could use a pronoun if I want to. And for my kids, I don't say me or you, I say them. I will pick up them. But you know what? That's not how we talk in English, right? So if we kept the grammar of the sentence the same, I would say, I will pick up them. And that does not sound natural to English speakers. I almost would never say, I will pick up them. If I use this object pronoun, I always put it between these two words. I will always say, as a native speaker, I will always say, I will pick them up. So that's the second rule. If you are speaking a sentence and you're using object pronoun me, you, him, her, you always want to put it in between the words of a phrasal verb. I will pick them up. I will pick him up. I will pick her up. I will pick you up. If you say the word my kids, if you say a name, you can put it after this. You can say I will pick up Gianna. I will pick up my daughter. But if I say her, I have to say I will pick her up. It's the most natural way to communicate. Third thing I want you to know about phrasal verbs is we have verbs with two words, and when we have to change the form of the verb, if we put ing, if we put ed on the end, we only change the first word in the phrasal verb. Okay, so for example, in the present tense, I say I pick up my kids. Now, what if I make this the past tense? How do I change the sentence to make this the past tense? The past tense form of this is I picked up my kids. The ed, the past tense, goes on the first word, pick. We never say I pick up my kids with a phrasal verb, okay? And if we say a progressive tense with the ing form, we would say I am, what do we say? Do you know? I am picking up my kids. Again, for the ing, we put the ing on the first word, on the word pick. We don't say I am pick-upping my kids. We never say that. We say I am picking up my kids. And remember, if you want to, you can put this in here. You can say I am picking my kids up. That's fine too. That sounds very natural. So, just to review, what are the 3 phrasal verb grammar rules that we went over today? Number 1, the object can go between the words or after the words. The object, the thing the verb is happening to, my children, them. Number 2, if you choose to use the object pronoun, if you choose to use them or him or her, you have to put that word between the words of the phrasal verb. And number 3, when the tense changes, when we have to add ed or ing to the phrasal verb, we only change the first word of the phrasal verb and not the second one. I hope that was helpful. Hope that was a good reminder for you. If you like, you can watch this video again and ask me more questions in class. Thanks. Have fun.